Welcome back to another Sunday school lesson.
We're so glad you're here today. Our story today is called The Early Believers. I wonder what the early believers means. Do you remember who the friends of Jesus were? They were called the disciples. That's right. And so we're talking about the early believers. And they were really, really good at something. Do you know what they were good at?
Believing?
They were good at believing, but they're also really good at sharing. Do you like to share your things?
Yes.
Sometimes you like to share your toys and things like that and get it back so people can borrow it. But you can also share things that you don't need anymore, right?
Yes, like old clothes.
That's right. Or even toys maybe that you're done playing with, or books you're finished with, right? So these early believers, they really believed about sharing God's love, sharing food and clothes and money. They even shared their homes. Can you believe it? That's really awesome, right? So we are going to go ahead today and we're going to read this story called Early Believers. I should tell you, this story comes from the book of Acts. Oh goodness, do you remember where Acts is? It's after the four Gospels.
Yes.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And then it's the fifth book, which is the book of Acts. Now this comes from chapter 2, verses 43 through 47, and also chapter 4 from verses 32 through 37. Okay, here we go. Early believers. Some of the early believers were great at sharing. They shared their food and their clothes. They shared their money and their homes. They were so
generous.
No one was poor or needy because others gave without holding anything back. Together, they saw many miracles and wonders. They met in the temple and they also met in their homes. You can see them down here, right? They talked about Jesus and they thanked God for blessing them. Would you like to try reading?
Then something amazing happened. When other people saw how happy these first believers were, sharing all they had and talking about Jesus, they believed too. They became Christians and they shared their food and their clothes, their money and their homes. They became one big Christian family, and their church family grew and grew and grew.
Oh, that's amazing. So when you're happy and when you're sharing with others, do you think that makes other people notice how happy you are to share?
Yes.
And if you're happy, it's going to make someone else happy too, isn't it?
Yes.
And when you give, we've talked about this before, but when you give to others, you're actually giving yourself the gift of happiness, right?
Yeah.
And you're sharing that gift of happiness and love with other people. So our early believers, what were they really good at? Sharing. Oh, that's an amazing thing. And do you think that that's God's Spirit and Jesus kind of teaching them about that? About sharing is so important and being kind and showing love to others. So how about we make a craft today of something that we could share with others? Would that work?
Yes.
Okay, let's tell everybody what we need.
A marker, some glue, a box.
Oh, that's perfect. And maybe
some paper.
Okay, so what should our first step be? What should we do?
So on your paper, you should write share box.
Oh, share box. We should write that big on our paper. Do you want to show them? And then what do you do with that paper?
And you should glue it.
Here, do you want me to hold it for you?
Yes.
Here, let me put it over here. Oh, goodness.
And you should glue it onto your box.
Okay, and what do you think we're going to do with this box?
Maybe put something in it.
Ooh, put something to share. Now, do you think these are going to be toys that we could share with friends when they come over? Could be.
Yes.
But what else could we do with the things that we're putting in our share box?
Like you could give it to somebody once you're done playing with it.
Wait, so this doesn't have to be just for you. It could be the whole family share box. So could I put maybe like a pair of tennis shoes that are not working for me anymore? Maybe they don't fit right.
Yes.
Could I give them to someone else? Maybe your dad could give a tie away if he's done wearing it and he says, oh, it doesn't match my outfit anymore. I think somebody else would like this better. Do you think maybe? So even a book or something, right?
Yes.
That we could give. So what are some things that you thought of that we could put in our family share box?
I thought of a book.
Oh, that's a great one. And what else did you
And
find?
I also thought of this toy.
Oh, you could put books and toys. Here, let's go ahead and put them inside our share box. Can you put them in there? Oh, what else do we have going in? Oh, you have 2 books, it looks like, that we can go ahead and put in. Good. And we have room. Here, let's show our friends. We have room for more, right?
Yes.
So maybe we could walk around the house and see what else we could find to put in our family share box. Now, what is this share box reminding us of? Who is it reminding us of? Do you remember who they were in the story? The early believers, because they believed that God was telling them to share share money, share clothes. What else was it? Share food.
Share food in their homes.
And even share homes. That's amazing. Because God's people, we are all one big, loving family, aren't we? So
Yes.
it's so important to share. And it's so important to make sure that we, as God's people, show that love to others. And one of those ways is to share what we have. So it could be things that are brand new even. Have you ever shared things that are brand new before?
Yes.
What about food?
Yeah.
We've bought food before and we've shared it with people who need it, haven't we?
Yes.
So it's important to make sure that not only do we share things that we don't need anymore, but also brand new things. Because people who might be needy and might need those things, they would want new things as well, wouldn't they?
Yes.
So that's important. So let's remember in our lesson today about the early believers that we are to share. And God loves it when we show his love by sharing with others. Are you
Yes.
ready to do that? Let's go fill up our share box, okay?
Okay.
Okay, friends, we hope you get your share box ready too, and we'll be excited to see you out and about sharing.